Hello everybody, welcome to episode 24 of Competitive Magic with the Carnies. I'm your host from Italy, Andrea Mengucci, and joining me today we have Javier Dominguez from Spain.
Hello everyone.
And that is actually it, because Anthony is flying across some oceans, not exactly sure what's the route from Perth to Philadelphia, because Australia is so far away. I'm assuming it's going to the Pacific Ocean, right?
I assume so, but knowing Anthony, my theory is since the PTs are now drafted and constructed, he's just gonna make a stop on Seattle to just protest on the WotC offices for having only constructed events. That's my theory. I think that's why he's flying so early. But he will tell us what he is up to when he comes back.
Yeah, a lot of protests these days in the Washington offices. So he needs to take a ticket because the line is quite long over there.
Did you know, because you went to protest for the initiative, right?
Yeah, I went there once. Didn't work. Initiative still there. By the way, this morning, I don't know if you caught my stream at all. I brewed this mono red initiative deck, and it was great.
I saw it on Twitter. I didn't catch the stream because I was out playing sports, but it does look decent at least.
Yeah,
better than other brews.
Yeah, and if the black initiative rare one was on Magic Online, I would also try that one, but it's not on Magic Online, so
yeah, it's like this full mono red initiative. You're breaking it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that if they just ban the 3/3s, there's gonna be a million initiative decks around. But anyway, let's delay the legacy talk for later. First, I wanted to thank our new Patreon, Eric Munk. Thank you so much. Hope I pronounced your name right. Thank you so much. He joined the Discord. By the way, in the Discord group, I don't know if you saw Javier, but this morning I added a group called Deck Picks, where you can share your deck. You can brag about your foils.
Your beta cards also. Yeah.
What's that?
Your beta cards as well. Foils.
Yeah, beta, foils, anything you want to post in there, it's going to be there.
I actually like seeing these pictures. Whenever you send me these deck photos, I do like them. They're they're beautiful, and I aesthetically like them.
Yeah, for sure. I actually spent a lot of time placing the cards at the right place, on curve and things like that.
It's a little bit of an art, huh?
It is. I practiced that art during the COVID days when I was playing a lot of old school and pre-modern, a lot of free time, and I was just always making new decks and taking deck picks.
Now you're a deck pick expert forever. Nice.
Yeah, I would say it's a skill that I will carry over. Okay. Shall we talk about some Magic? Have you played any Magic this past weekend? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I did, but it was mostly just testing Pioneer. So I didn't play any tournaments or no RCQs, no nothing. I don't even think I played the Magic Online tournaments. So yeah, just mostly testing. It's going well, but we'll see what happens in Philadelphia. What about you? Did you play events?
The new set came out last weekend. There were pre-releases. I attended 2 of them. It was pretty cool. I even opened the Elish Norn. Pog.
Was it good?
Actually, Elish Norn was not really. I cast it a couple of times. It just died immediately. There's so many removal spells around. It's kind of crazy. I won the game mostly with commons and just equipments and things like that.
That's good though, right? That sounds good to me.
Yeah. The amount of great commons is just impossible. There's a guy, it's a 5 mana 4/4 haste with Toxic 3.
That sounds good, right? Which color is that?
Yeah, but there's so... I don't know, I was so impressed. There's a 5 mana 4/5 that comes into play with 2 oil counter, and you remove one, and you give haste to a creature. So it's a 5 mana 4/5 haste, and gives the creature another creature haste.
That sounds pretty... sounds like a good uncommon, right?
No, those are commons.
No, I know, but this one sounds like a good uncommon, in other sets.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was impressed because I had also another Planeswalker at Koth, which was not good at all for a Planeswalker. It was fine.
Yeah, this Planeswalkers, they're often not that good in limited. The kind of Planeswalker that just not very good at defending themselves in some situations.
Yeah,
I assume the Eternal Wonder is a bomb, for example. It depends on how these Planeswalkers are worded. I assume also Nissa or Vraska, they have to be bombs, but Jace or Koth probably not so much.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Probably these other cards you mentioned are great, but I don't know, I just ended up having caught just two mountains, so it was just a shock. I don't know, it wasn't, just, you when you think about Planeswalker, you think about this, oh wow, it's just the best pick ever, 100% playing in my sealed deck, but it wasn't like this.
Yeah, that's good though. Like I like when these cards are like good, but not like like played. And if you end up with it, the game is completely over every time. Which I guess is the
Oh,
case
for
of
sure.
Nisa. Like Nisa really looks like that kind of planeswalker, but that's it. I mean that's fine.
Yeah, the power creeps of commons and uncommons is, yeah, definitely makes draft and sealed way more challenges because you have so many good options. Seems like Cube,
I
right?
think that's a good sign. Like I tend to like formats where the commons or the build around cards are good, where you have to use those cards to actually like create something powerful. As opposed to like formats like I don't know Dungeons and Dragons set where we just like open the rare and just hope to draw it and that's it because the commons were much
Hmm.
worse. I like. I mean I haven't played yet, but I like what you're saying.
For sure, for sure. And yeah, also I returned home on Saturday, and then on Sunday I played the PTQ, the Magic Online PTQ that had 446 players.
The huge one, huh?
It was huge. It was a 10 round Swiss, and I actually finished it. I played it all around because, they give prizes up to top 64, 128. I ended up going 6 and 4, which isn't the best thing ever. But yeah, it was a long day and good day of competitive Magic for sure.
Yeah, it was a good PTQ for Spaniards also because I think there were like 3 Spaniards in the top 8 or something like that. I saw it on Twitter, so it
Yep.
was a
Yeah, for sure.
good tournament for Spain.
We Yeah, we will talk about it. Spanish. I mean, if you're a European Magic player that play GPs, play GPs, you know that Spanish people always. I don't know. Every time there was a modern GP, Spanish player pool were like half of the top 8. Every time there was a team event, like probably all the top 8 were Spanish people.
Yeah, I remember
So
one GP. Yeah, like they seem to do well in those tournaments. So it is happening
yeah,
once again. That's cool.
I think it was GP Liverpool, the team one. There was like 4 teams were all
Yeah, I think it
Spanish
was
in the
3 or 4.
top 4.
Yeah, maybe it was all 4. Yeah, exactly. That one where we properly busted, but this.
Well, women day two.
Yeah,
Women
with it
day
too, but
two.
not too well. Yeah, it was. I think it was 3 or 4 Spanish teams. Yeah, maybe it was 4. I don't remember right now. But yeah, overall, the Spanish community is always happy when there are tournaments that are modern. Like important tournaments. All right.
For sure. Yeah, so I'll talk about my deck choice for sure. I decided to move away from Murktide for this weekend, and I believe this is a nice moment to kind of like talk about my thought process and why I chose to go away from the deck that I champion so much these days. So I think that last month when I played Murktide in Trieste, I think was a very good moment for the deck. The metagame was really good for it, I think. But now I think a lot of control deck, just like elementals and again like control Chalice of the Void decks are probably at its highest. And I don't know, I felt like Blue and Murktide was maybe a little bit too hated. In fact, there were 0 in the top 16 of this PTQ, and champions of the deck like Doomswitch also moved away from it for the PTQ. And might just be the next weekend. It's again the right choice, but I really felt like it was time to change it for that particular weekend, and I went for Creativity, which tries to prey on those decks that prey on Murktide, and also notably has a bad matchup against Murktide. In fact, 3 of my 4 losses were against Murktide. So overall, I think it might not be a great choice because again, I went 6 and 4, so that's not exciting. But Creativity had a great weekend. 2 people in the top 8, and with a nice performance in the Star City game events that we're going to talk about later. So yeah, what do you think about my metagame choice? Does it make sense to you?
Well, it does make sense, and it's also like all the players. I mean, you mentioned like Doomswitch. He also did the same, right? Like this weekend. So it seems like some other people also felt like that because you see some names not playing Mortite, and honestly, I think that was the perfect choice. I mean, even seeing the metagame in the top 8 or whatever, like Creativity was a good deck to play in this weekend. And yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I think you did well. Like if I was well playing myself, I think Creativity was a good deck to play, and I would probably just will follow you if I had to, if I was going to play the PTQ, I would have played the same as you. Yeah.
Even once you locked it on Creativity, though, there's so many choices you can go. So there is the PTQ finalist. I guess they split the final. Varo, who also happens to be a PT top 8er. He played a Teamer. So that is the version with Burst Lightning and Mana Leak that we talked about on the podcast a few weeks ago. There is also the other version that is the one that I played with Leyline Binding and Teferi, so Splashing White. And then there's another version that took down the Star City game on Friday, 167 player, a 5k that plays instead 3 Persist and 3 Beta Reunion. So it's very interesting how inside the same archetype, inside the same like quote-unquote combo deck, there's 3 different variations that change about like 10 cards in the main deck.
Yeah, it's been happening like that for a while, but for me, I am a big advocate of the Mana League 1. Like, I've played all 3 versions. I'm not a big fan of the Persist one. I think it's actually like probably like the most explosive one, but it is the one I like less against the bad matchups, like the Mortis and the such. And I think the Mana League 1 is just like so, it's so good at doing what it does. Like, this feels like the draws are more smooth. Cards like Mana League and Burst Lightning, just you're better against the Ragavan situations where you're in a draw and the such. Like, I understand the wide splash specifically is supposed to be great against Mortide, but in my experience, you also lose a lot of games because of the clunkiness. Like you become weaker against Blood Moons because you have less counters and such. So I'm if I have to choose, I mean, I will have played the Mana League 1. That's me.
Yeah, that's again. I am not sold on playing the version with white. I prefer it because, as you said, I have a bad matchup against Murktide, and I like the Leyline Binding in the main deck. And also, Teferi is obviously great every time you get to play against like those control decks. And again, my metagame call was to beat the control deck / just. So I like Teferi also for that reason. And I think that you mentioned an important thing is that if you play Teamer, you have a lot of counters to Blood Moon. And Blood Moon is the card that I lost every match against. So I said that I lost to 3 Murktide. They weren't actually Murktide. One was a Juske Breach, the Fair Breach, and one was a Blue-Red Phoenix, and the other one was Murktide. But all 3 of them, I always won game 1 and lost game 2 and 3. Because what happens post sideboard is that you can't really tap because you have to respect Blood Moon, and then you just end up losing to Blood Moon anyway because they can't like find the moment where they get you with it.
Classic Blood Moon, huh?
So yeah, and I thought about it a lot, and I think the right play is actually to go back to Abundant Growth. That's the old tech of like I want to say a few months ago at this point that I think it's good again now in 5-color Creativity.
Yeah, I mean that's a card that definitely like helps you a lot against the Blood Moon situation. Even though if you play in the white splash, it still creates a situation where Leyline Binding is still pretty bad. So I think Teamer or the black version with Persist are actually better equipped to actually play with the Abundant Growth. Is that correct? Like, do you feel that way?
Yeah, that's entirely right. Today I was streaming with 5-color Creativity because I wrote a updated cyber guide, and that actually is free right now on Channel Fireball. You know how I have 1 article per month is free, and I chose to put this one. So I had a league where my hand was 3 Leyline Binding, 2 Veil of Summer. I had 4 lands. I was all mana up, and my opponent just played Blood Moon.
Yeah.
Because Blood Moon, because once. You can float white mana, but the Blood Moon makes all your lands red, so Leyline Binding costs 5, and I only had 4 lands. So.
That's unfortunate.
yeah, that is. If I had like Mana Leak or 4 Spell Pierce, opponent could have never. I don't know. Yeah. But at the same time, I got to win every time game 1 very consistently because I had such clean answer to Ledger Shredder that the other deck doesn't have.
Yeah.
So. It's definitely a difficult thing, but again, I think it's super cool that one of the most popular deck in Modern, Creativity, still hasn't sorted his full deck list. Let's quickly mention the paper events that happened this weekend, because I love Paper Magic, and there are some organizers that are definitely worth mentioning on our podcast. There are two, a 10K and a 5K from the Star City game weekend. One was on Friday. It was won by, we mentioned, the Indomitable Creativity. Then we have Amulet Titan, Murktide by a popular content creator, Twinless Twin. And Domain Zoo, that was the top 4, with 2 more Amulet Titan. Amulet Titan in the top 8. Amulet Titan had a fantastic weekend with 2 copies even in the PTQ, the Magic Online, very large one. So definitely a deck that's preying on Blue-Red Murktide, maybe doing a little bit worse than usual.
Yeah, I think that's another reaction. Like, I think if you will expect to be like facing a metagame with less Murktide, you will either play like Creativity or whatever, or you will go for Titan. And I think that's something that happened. I mean, this tournament also has like another Titan in the top 16. Like, it's not like 2 players only play Titan, right? Like, some of the players also thought like, yeah, maybe there's going to be less Blood Moons around, so it's a good time to pick Titan. And I mean, that is also, it's a deck, like, I don't think it's particularly powerful, but every time it is ignored, it just comes back. Like, it's just like good enough that it has enough like turn 3 kills or whatever. And I wanted to say also, like, 5-color Zoo, once again, like, we keep talking every week about Modern, and there's always like a 5-color Zoo at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen more 5-color Zoo than like scam decks lately. So I think I'm ready to call this deck like perfectly good, in order to win tournaments in Modern.
Yeah, this list is slightly different, as it's playing a lot of weird choices like Mantis Rider, Obnixilis,
Wow.
Charlotte Sage, and so it's definitely a very interesting list. But it plays, the core of the deck is definitely Tribal Flames, Leyline Binding. Like, you get to play 1 mana removal, 2 mana Lava Axe, and that's the core of the deck.
I mean, so Omnixilis here. I mean, I'm not a fan of Omnixilis, but if you sacrifice a large creature, it actually does more than we're used to, right? Like, it like, it's about going to ultimate. If you can, because we often see Omnixilis in decks with small creatures, so the copy is like a 1 loyalty Omnixilis, but if you sacrifice like a territorial Kabu, then suddenly it's a 5 loyalty,
Yeah, but you also sacrifice Territorial Kabu, so I don't know how much you want to do
that's true. I don't know. I mean, because the Omnixilis is like a super Lava Spike in terms of like what it does at the end of the day, and this is a deck that is not that far away of wanting to play a Lava Spike. Like, it doesn't play Lava Spike, but it isn't that far. Like, Mantis Rider here is just surely like hopefully like a Lava Spike that then the monster removal spell. That's it.
This weekend there was already the Brothers War cards were already legal, and we see some Brothers War cards in the top 8. So I guess
you mean Phyrexia, right?
What did I say?
Brothers War. We're past that part.
Yeah.
Like Melita, the Living Cure. I don't even know what it does.
What's that?
Melita, the Living Cure. Cura.
Where is it?
I don't know. It's in the sideboard of the Zoo deck.
Oh, it's in the sideboard of the Zoo deck. No, I was going to mention other cards, but Melita, the Living Cure. Yeah. Let's check.
It's like Safri. I know it's like the old Safri, similar like that.
Melita. So it's a 2 mana 3/3. If you would get 1 or more poison counters, instead you get 1 poison. So this is they put us in the sideboard for poison deck. Maybe they were expecting a poison.
No,
deck
I think they put it against control because it just like makes the Kavu have 1 more life, I assume.
Oh, so if they want to kill a creature, you save a creature.
But it's similar to the Safi card from Future Side, but this one is 3/3. Like, it's a like 2/2 for 2 mana is unplayable completely, but 3/3 for 2 mana. It's much better stats. It doesn't die to basic Unholy Heat. So maybe that's why. Oh no.
Yeah, there are a couple of other cards worth mentioning. AJ Kotso came second on Sunday, and they're playing 1 minor misstep in the main deck and over the Spell Snare in the Spell Snare slot.
So basically, what you said.
No, I would also. I think I said 1 step is 1 minor misstep, 1. One spell
similar to what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So that is definitely a card, but I think the biggest, because obviously like minor misstep, it's going to be cool and everything, but there's a card in the 4 of in the main deck, which is worth mentioning, and that is the Mycosynth Garden. So for those of you who don't know what this does, this is a link, comes into play untapped, it adds colorless mana, and then you can filter the mana, so it's like you pay one, you play one and tap this, and you add a color, so if you play like, tap Urza Saga and tap this, you get a green. But most importantly, you tap X and tap the Gardens, and this becomes a copy of target non-token artifact you control. So you can copy a Amulet of Vigor, and this becomes an additional copy of that until this stays in play.
that's pretty good. I mean, that's a powerful interaction. I didn't expect it to be that important because, you need to have the Amulet of Vigor first, and the deck struggles when it doesn't have the Amulet of Vigor. And it also doesn't solve the issue of like Blood Moons and such. But that said, I mean, I don't know what they cut to put this card, but it does open a lot of powerful situations where you just go Amulet, play this, copy the Amulet, or maybe play a second copy, and then just, you can just go off and attack for 200 on the very next turn. So maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting one. Yeah.
I am definitely not an Amulet expert, and whenever I play this deck on MTGO, I don't really. It's always so difficult.
I actually did play. Remember for PT London, like I played this deck for like 2 or 3 days. So I actually kind of know it. I'm not an expert either, but I do have some sense on how to play with it. And I think this card is certainly good enough to play in this deck. But I'm not even like. It doesn't sound to me like it should be a 4-off because like you did need to get some green mana, and it's not always like super easy considering you have like some colorless lands or whatever. But I think some copies are certainly like good enough. And maybe it's a 4-off, but at least like because you never want to draw like 2 of these, or most likely never, because you need like 3 amulets. With 2 is enough to go off. But yeah, I mean this made amulet better. That is, I mean. This player with 4 in the main deck seems to agree with that.
Yeah, but overall, the Phyrexia, this new set, I don't know how much is gonna add to Modern. I'm excited. That's always some of the, exciting part of new set is how much they will impact our known formats. So I'll definitely keep an eye on.
I mean, yeah, it's very hard for a new set, like the normal set, to actually impact Modern. Like if you think about it, what are the Brothers War cards in Modern? We barely have some, right? We had the Kamigawa staples because they were like extremely good, but there's only like Brotherhood's End around, right? I mean, I'm sure there's also other cards.
I can think.
Like, also there's something called.
I can think of Cityscape Leveler. That was a card that saw play in Tron, but
yeah, there's a small things like I think for a normal set, like a non-Modern Horizons style set, I think if it just puts one card as a 4-off in one archetype, that's just, as good as you get. Like I think Shredder plus Hers was like uncommonly strong for Fable. I think the set was really good, but like I think other sets are not going to add that many cards. It's simply because how large the pool is, right? Like at the end of the day,
maybe the most impactful card was Haywire Might.
Yeah, most likely. I actually agree, but it's not like, it changed the Modern landscape or something or anything like that. It just like, it's randomly playable in some decks, one off, and that's it. And I think Phyrexia might just be like, yeah, maybe it's just this land which makes Amulet better, and that's it. I mean, that's good enough, Like I think having one card that actually impacts Modern is pretty good for a set. That's not like, Modern Horizons again.
That this is what used to be Modern used to be like this. Like you're just happy that few cards could go into these the older formats rather than just be shook up every time.
Like, yeah, like I mean, it's been a while though since a non-Modern Horizons set shakes things that much, but that's why they are. I mean, that's what the sets are for, right? Like the Modern Horizons ones, because we'll have one this year. And I assume that one will also shake things like a lot, because they have to print cards that are strong enough so they actually shake Modern. The issue is when they do print enough of those, a few of them will be better than what they will expect, and that's how you end having like Hogak. Like I think Hogak could matter, like could happen again, or like another Rag event or whatever that just single-handedly change the format. I think we're gonna have some cards like that We don't know how exactly the nature of the cards will be, but we're gonna have some cards like that.
Yeah, for sure. At this point, if you play Modern, you're kind of expecting, this summer set to be revolutionary, like the past two Modern Horizons have been.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the case. I don't expect the cards to be very similar. Like, I will be surprised if they print exactly like a one drop that's red, that's just as good as DRC or Ragavan, because that would be strange. But you remember when red had like no one drops, like no good creatures in Modern, only burn. Like, it seems like ages ago, but it wasn't that long ago. I will expect them to play like, I don't know, to bring like a Seek one drop that's black, which is something we don't have in the format right now, or even blue or whatever. I will expect
So
the same kind of cards with
I
different
think
ones.
the problem these days is just that green cards suck for like 4 years or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
after
exactly.
after Oko and Uro, they just stopped printing good green card.
Maybe it's time, right? Like, maybe they just print. Like, I will not be surprised if they printed now like a sort of like similar, like a card like Deadly Shaman, that's only mono green. I'm not saying like the same design, but similar in power level. Like something like that will actually put green back in the map, and I will fully expect a card like that to happen to be printed in the next Modern Horizons set or Modern whatever. Like, I'm not saying Silent Shaman, but I just a one drop that's as good as Ragavan but in green, only for green. Maybe just good with fetch lands, or the opposite, like good without fetch lands. Who knows? But some cards like that. I also will expect some creature that's accidentally very good against the cascade spells. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see like some kind of superpower Lavinia. I don't know. This is very speculative, but I think those are the type of cards we're gonna see in the next set, most likely.
Yeah, for sure. I think that hating on Cascade, it's okay because Cascade is just such a good deck, right? Again, it took down the SCG on what was it, Sunday, Living End, in the final against Blur and Murktide. Just very easy deck list, the classic one that you would expect. And in the PTQ there were two rhinos deck. Kind of funny how I played against Rastaf in round number 2 of the tournament, and so I went for my creativity, targeting a dwarf and the treasure.
Yes.
And they had 3 mana up, and they went Prismari Command, 2 damage, destroy the artifact. Clean,
very clean.
Yeah. That's a card I did not expect, because people usually play Become Immense in that slot, but Rastaf had Prismari Command. So, yeah,
got you.
Minor changes like this.
No, I mean, they do win games, that's for sure. But,
Yeah, but at this point, I would say that Timur has established it as the superior version, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of clear. I mean, it's been around for a while. It seemed like the white one was sometimes good, but I think it's the way I see it. It's similar to the Timur Creativity one, where the Timur deck is just like better at doing what it does, and even though it has some downsides, there's just the consistency and like how just all the cards are working in the same direction, because you have like less answers that are not like broad. I think just makes the deck better. Yeah, I think Timur is the best Rhinos deck. I mean, you are the Rhinos expert, though.
So this Sunday, there is the Magic Online showcase. I'll definitely be playing. It's probably going to be another 10-round event, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to play, but maybe I mean, it depends on how I'm like sleeping and feeling in the testing house or whatever. I might just randomly play it with an aggro deck or whatever. But if we do play, see you in the finals, Mengu. Hopefully.
I don't know about that, but I think I'll be playing. So I'll obviously keep an eye on the metagame in the preliminaries and how things evolve. But right now, I would still submit the same 5-color creativity deck that I played.
Well, would you recommend? Because one thing about these top 16s is their hammer is almost completely absent, and that's a deck that I will probably consider playing this weekend, just because like there's more like Titans and the such. And that's there's more Titans, so maybe Hammer is a good deck to play now. If there's these decks, but also some more blue-green Mortite comes back. What do you think?
Oh, I think that Hammer is preying on Blur and Murktide, which is maybe not having its best time. as well as these. I don't know, maybe like those Ran and 6 just control decks. They're probably pretty good against Hammer.
Then I will not play Hammer.
I'm not sure. I mean, Hammer is Hammer good against the Rhinos and Titan?
No, I think Hammer is good against Titan. Sort of. I mean, they have Force of Vigor, but I think Hammer is bad against Rhinos.
You think Hammer is bad against Rhinos?
I think so. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's a good matchup because they have like so much interaction that's good. Like all these Fire Ices and whatever, they're actually very annoying. Yeah. But I think it's good against Titan. I mean, presumably you have like better Goldfish. Like, you're just better, like faster. Yeah, I guess it's not a good time to be Hammer. I don't know. I kind of want to play it, but
I feel like Hammer. It's still a deck I always put very high in my ranking. Although it's a deck I never really see myself playing. I think it's just so like consistently strong. Like the plan is similar to Rhinos. Like it just needs so little to win the game that you have to respect it. It's just proactive decks are generally better than their reactive decks for like 10 rounds of end. It's just. I still wouldn't be playing Hammer, but it can't be a wrong choice for sure.
Okay.
A deck that I have thought about playing for this weekend is Burn. That's another deck that I think sits pretty nicely in this top 8.
It does, but last time I played Burn, like in this locals event or whatever, the deck felt like so underpowered that whenever I feel like, yeah, I mean, Burn will really be well positioned right here, and I agree actually, Mengu. Then I'm like, yeah, but even when you are well positioned, it's like, but it sucks, like the deck is underpowered. It's like the opposite of when you play Bullet Mortite, like you play against matchups that are like rough, but your deck's so good that you can still like be like, having a bad matchup, but my deck is so good that sometimes it carries, it carries and wins the match anyway. I have the opposite feeling with Burn. Like it's like, playing good matchup, but you're like, yeah, this is comfortable, whatever, and then your deck is just like so underpowered in the modern Essence 2 modern that I feel like a lot of, I think that's why we just keep seeing like almost no Burn in the top tables or whatever. Like it literally needs like a lot of good, like things that go their way. Decks that are just like super weak to Burn.
But it is a good choice if you want to just play something easy at the testing house.
Yeah, but I think if I'm gonna go for Burn, I will just go Rhinos. I do think it's a better deck. Like Rhinos is still like a fast deck that's not super hard to play. It's kind of easy. I mean, of course, it's modern, so it's not super easy, but it's kind of easy to play. It's an aggro deck. Games are fast, so I can play and then just go do something else while I wait for the next round. And I think it doesn't Rhinos doesn't feel like when I play Rhinos, I don't feel like my deck is bad. I feel like my deck is doing a powerful thing consistently, and I think that makes it better than Burn. I will probably just play Rhinos over Burn. Yeah.
Makes sense. Totally.
Okay. So, well, I mean, see you in the tournament. I think we can just move on the next format. Would you agree?
For sure, yeah.
We mentioned a little bit on the tournaments this weekend. Yeah, those tournaments are cool. Maybe, you have some events in the future, right? In Italy there, so let's see if you can take some of them down.
Yeah, the Four Seasons is gonna happen soon. Actually, our very good friend Christian Calcano.
Oh.
Yeah, he booked a ticket to Italy for 2 weeks, and so we're gonna go to Four Seasons. Then we're gonna go to. He's gonna come to my house in Senegal, and then we're gonna go to Naples. Great.
Was Cal gonna go to Naples also? I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's gonna play the last chance qualifier.
Maybe he can pull a people. Qualify for the tournament and then get to the.
Unfortunately, so I booked the train to go to Naples on Friday, so he has to leave the day before, so we don't travel together because he has to play on Friday morning.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, but I'll definitely have fun playing some standard and paper with him.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you cannot go wrong with playing with a calc.
Yeah, built a couple of paper standard decks. I played them over the weekend. Game plan of standard is so much different than the other game plan that it's refreshing for sure.
I do like it. I think the gameplay in standard right now is very good. I've been liking it a lot since last month. I didn't love it when they just took out the Me Too Massacre and it just like became like impossible to come back. But nowadays I'm just happy with it. I do believe these mirror matches of like Esper Legends or whatever are a little bit like snowbally because if you get Rafine start going first, whatever, it's very hard to come back. But well, other than that, it's just excellent. And by the way, this weekend, I mean, we talked a little bit about like how Esper Legends were cool and whatever. They just took over the format like super like strongly. You know, like this challenge are like, I mean, if they were not won, like the first one, for example, was not won by Esper because Mardu was the one taking it down, but it has like 6 in the top 8. That's a lot of top 8s. You know?
Yeah, Standard is a format where metagaming happens consistently. We see now 0 soldier decks. It's just classic Standard, and why Anthony likes it so much, because it's just metagaming is so relevant here, right?
Yeah, and also like details like, you know, having more cards against the one archetype and such. It's so important. We also still see some of the black-red midrange, but I think those decks are going to be out like somewhat soon unless the soldiers come back. I think Grixis decks and Mardu decks are just better, you know, like considering how the metagame is positioned. And I don't know how good the Archangel of Wrath is, like the wide large cards against these like Esper decks, because I think the winning announcement has to be like pretty mediocre, right, out of these Mardu decks. So I assume it's the Angel. Because, you know, that's
what happens against those Esper Legends is that they just fly over you. You have so many flyers.
Exactly, and the tokens are not going to do like too much. So I assume the Angels. I mean, I had some troubles with the Angels, both Century Garden and Archangel of Wrath. You know, trying to Raffine over them, right, with Raffine. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, those games are surely interesting, and I expect like a lot of matches to be decided by like, you know, the classic two cards on the sideboard of a deck. There's some interesting, I mean, the decks. So there's one thing I want to talk about. It's like not everyone is playing the same deck list. There's like a lot of different things. There's Esper with announcement. There's Esper without, and then the sideboard slots are like, you know, obscure interceptor. There's a player with 2 Dollhouse of Horrors also on the sideboard, you know, on the Esper challenge. There's a lot of different versions. I have no idea what's better, but I think that's a very fun process to go through. Like, you know, trying these cards, trying the different cyber plans. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So there is.
I'm a big fan of this kind of formats.
I've been so impressed by the channel hands when I played this deck. Like 1 mana Otawara, 1 mana Ganjo, so good.
Yeah, it seems like the reason that this deck is built like that way is just the power of the spell lands. Like the fact that you can use both mulligan, like Floodless, Skirless, and have these powerful spells. I still don't get the 40 Ganjo 3 Otawara, but that's already said it before. Same. Yeah. But
the Plaza of Heroes also so powerful. Plaza of Heroes,
yeah. This whole shell is like, you know, it doesn't matter exactly with which legends you play, but because the lands are so powerful that everything is going to be good if you throw it into the battlefield, right? And I like it. I mean, I like it this way more than Pioneer.
Yeah, I haven't been looking at any Pioneer, but I'll be excited to watch the coverage.
Yeah,
that's definitely something I very, very much look forward to see the coverage.
I will do the same in their position, you know, like not play a Pioneer game, but also be excited about the coverage. that's what I will do.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter what you know, if it's like Javier Dominguez against Reed Duke, it doesn't matter the format. I'll just be excited to watch it.
Yeah, hopefully draft in 3-0 bracket or whatever. Day 2. I kind of like. I'm kind of like, you know, excited about the drafting part. Now, let's see. I haven't drafted in a long time in terms of like in a tournament, and yeah, we'll see.
I'm not that exciting about. I don't know. I've never been a fan of watching coverage of Limited in the past, but
yeah, I think Limited is like better for playing. I always thought like Limited in the tournaments like that is better for playing, but worse for watching. And Constructed is like worse for playing in the speedies or whatever, but much better for watching, which is why like the early rounds are Limited, and I think and the late rounds are the top 8s or whatever, they're always Constructed. Like this is just much better to just to watch by home, you know, the coverage, so, you see the decks and the such.
When I was, you know, practicing Limited and doing a lot of Limited, I would actually go back and watch the play pattern of the Limited games just as a lesson, as a, you know, teaching moment. I love to like learn from like other streamer and all the Pro Tours and stuff like that. But now that I'm just enjoying as a viewer, I don't think I'll skip the Limited part, also because I don't really know the cards very well. I just play the pre-releases and I don't really plan to draft more. But Yeah.
Yeah, not knowing the cars is a big deal. Like not knowing what the cars are doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's why. Just I mean, historically, as far as I know, the limited tournaments they have like less people, right? Like they have less viewers.
And maybe they do have more players though. Like I remember when they did the LMS in Bologna this past summer, it was sealed and he had like 900 people. They never had this big number in paper.
Yeah, I mean it's because like it's cooler to play, right? Like it's the same again. Like it's better to play, but then if you're gonna watch at home, I personally would rather just watch like constructed, because I know what's going on, I know the decks and whatever, I know what I'm watching.
Yeah,
I think that's just like yeah. I think that's a good thing. Yeah, like they're split it this way, but I just can't help. I'm more excited about the limited part because of that novelty, because I felt like I was not ever gonna get that chance again.
Oh no! If I was a competitor, if I was qualified, I would be so excited to just go in a testing house and draft, because it's so good. It doesn't matter if I haven't drafted for 2 years. I can just be there, read the spoiler, and be like as good as somebody that Whereas for constructed, you have to be you have to follow a little bit more and things like that. So that's why I think playing it's more exciting to play limited, but watching I think it's a little bit less.
Yeah, totally agree. All right.
But as it is, my most exciting format are in fact the constructed one. So why don't we talk about the next constructed format?
Yeah, which is Legacy.
Yeah. So on Saturday there was another qualifier, which it's not popular in modern, so it had about I think 150 players, but still like a very big event, very important event. There were only one initiative deck in the top 8. Actually, I got to see some rounds of a friend of mine who didn't do as well, but the winner is a name that I remember from the old days of Magic Online, JSTMST, with 4-color.
4-color control with one Lele Manning in the sideboard. Remember when they banned Ragavan and they talk about Lele Manning? It's finally there.
One in the main deck as well. Notably, this list is missing Endurance, 0 Endurance.
Yeah, I actually can get behind that. I was not feeling that great against Endurance. It's good against Alvar or whatever, but I'm not sure Endurance is better than Lele Binding against Alvar specifically. So maybe this is just like a better version. Maybe this player just made this deck better, honestly.
How about this? There are 0 Carpet main deck, 0 Pyroblast main deck in either the Blue-Red Delver or the 4-color. There is a nice little top 8 with almost every archetype. Why do they need to ban cards in Legacy? What do you say?
I think in terms of balance, it is a good thing. Like I think this top 8 is like for the balance or whatever. But it's just, you can just ban things if you think the game play are not enjoyable to people and less people play the format, which is kind of what happened with Ragavan. If I remember correctly, the Ragavan Delver didn't have like better win rate than it did after the bans, right? The Legacy could stay like this. I certainly would prefer for them to ban the initiative, just get rid of it and just move on. But if you want to live in a world where Pyroblast is not a main deck card, initiative is the solution to that problem, if you think that's a problem. Now it creates another problems where you have like this games where you just get easily killed on turn 1. So yeah, for me it's always been a matter of how I enjoy the gameplay, like these bull mirrors or whatever. Yeah. I mean, now it's sort of like, there's one Pyroblast in the top 8 though, but the other players have like 0 Pyroblast and they have a Braid main deck over Pyroblast. Well, do you think a Braid main deck is a good sign of a good format in Legacy? That I can get behind that. Like I can respect that. I just like the situation where, decks are not ending the games too fast, which is what Initiative is doing.
Yeah, so I was pretty much thinking that they would have banned Initiative, but I don't know. I feel at this point they're doing the classic Legacy approach, which is just wait a few months, see what's up, and if the win rate of the deck goes below 50%, they're not going to ban it. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, but that does not take into account how much it warps the metagame, right? Like
I know.
That's just a lazy approach in my opinion, because any deck in Legacy is going to eventually get behind 50% if it warps things enough.
Exactly.
You know, like
exactly.
if Mono Blue Merfolk was the best deck in Legacy by a lot, and we start people saying like, you know, like Pyroblast main deck, that's, you know, I that's gonna happen. That's gonna like make the deck
I
goes worse.
understand. Yeah, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like so right now, if you look at the top, I'm not defending the initiative deck. I also agree that it's not very fun, and I enjoyed Legacy. You know, when like Deathrise Shaman and Leovold were good, but that's another story. Like if you look at these blue red Delver deck list, they don't play Snuff Out anymore, so they're back to Lightning Bolt. So I feel like decks aren't really cannibalizing anymore, except you know you don't see Carpet of Flowers and Pyroblast main deck anymore. That's I don't know. Also, you see Ali in the top 8. He's a player from Sweden, and he forwarded 2 preliminaries this week, and also top 8 at the PTQ with lands. And he said that decks just don't really respect lands anymore, and he's just winning because Imarit Laj is like untouchable,
Of course.
and he has this Steely Resolve in the sideboard that Mono White can't deal with.
Yeah, no, but that's another consequence. Like, yeah, I think so.
Exactly.
This paradigm that initiative creates, where you know some like they have to build the decks differently. It opens the door for decks like lands to become good again, as long as they're good against initiative. Because Delver decks are just, you know, not that well suited, especially after sideboard. Because in Legacy, all the sideboards are like very tight or whatever. But the fact that they have to play cards like the Prorant Creatures, or even Nemesis, which are not like particularly, you know, stellar in many matchups because of the initiative matchups, that's I think already opening the spot for these decks. Even decks like Storm or whatever. A Storm specifically, maybe it's not that good against initiative, but if you play Chalice or whatever, but like I think decks like that are ready to come back again stronger. Maybe that deck like Colors Eldrazi, you know, like these big Cloud Post decks, those are actually maybe ready to come back as well.
Yeah, so I think that a very similar discussion of this could be talked about for Pauper, which is that a large portion of the fan base wants ban happening in Pauper as well to like Affinity or Monastery Swiftspear, but at the same time, whenever there's tournaments, and especially the important ones, Affinity and Burn are like sub 50% win rate. You have people that actually do that. I'm pretty sure they also do that for Legacy. I don't know how I didn't see them for the PTQ, but
it's a big difference. I think there's a big difference, Mengu, here, because for example, the last mock in Legacy, the last mocks or whatever, I think it has like 4 initiative in the top 4. You know, like I think I understand the parallelism you were trying to indicate, and I think I agree conceptually, but I think this is not what is happening right now in the Legacy, because when there's like these mocks or whatever, the tournaments tend to be like initiative based mostly.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, I'm not really taking part in the discussion. I also would like to see the mechanic go as you. I just I definitely see a parallel between these two formats right now, as just people are hating so much something that it's actually like, I don't know, not really winning that much. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, absolutely, yeah, I know that's and you show me before what happened with Pauper. I think it's I mean this format it's always interesting for me to see how these formats evolve, and they're not that different in that regard. I guess the only difference is like Delver has pretty much consistently like decent win rates like every time.
Yeah,
like it just keeps happening. You know, like
I think at this point, a Legacy player kind of accepted it, right? Yeah. Like I remember, it's always been like this. Like he just Delver, it's there. I mean, sometimes there was a window, I think, when they banned the Arcanist,
Yoko, whatever. Yeah, also right.
Like, but between the banning of Arcanist and the printing of Ragavan, there was a time where Delver was not good. I think.
Yeah.
A tiny bit window, but I guess Ura was legal. It was kind of dumb.
But also remember that Delver stopped playing even Delver until Initiative. Like, remember before Initiative, some Delver decks were playing on 2 Delvers. Some were playing 0. The Initiative made them go back to 4 Delvers. It's easy to forget this kind of thing.
Shredder.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the format's still evolving, and we're gonna see more. I mean, I still think it will be better without initiative cards, but once we're past that, I think the legacy format is still adapting, and I think we keep seeing like new innovations, like this True Nemesis or whatever. There's always a combo deck around or two. There's Cephalid is still making top 8s every week, by the way. Like there's one in the third place in the PTQ. It's this time without the Strixes. This is the anti-combo version, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we
I
just keep
saw
seeing
a friend of mine doing very well in the, I think it was a challenge. I think he top 16 with Cephalid. Definitely, yeah, just again, just another, and one, it's like, you see how this topic of the PTQ is so diverse, right? You have Doomsday, which is definitely a deck that's bad against Delver, but praise on the decks that try to beat it. And I don't know. Feels
could be worse.
Like could be worse.
I think the gameplay with initiative is not good, but other than that, it could be worse. I agree, and I don't like initiative, but it is certainly doing some good things for the format, at least in terms of diversity. So it's good.
Yeah. So I was playing this morning with this Mono Red initiative deck, and I kind of shared the experience that these Ancient Tomb decks win when they draw Ancient Tomb, because Ancient Tomb is a Mox, a colorless Mox, and a land attached to each other
every turn.
So it's like card advantage, because you're playing two cards in one.
Exactly, it is card advantage.
Yeah, and once you realize that you are playing a power 9, it's kind of feel like, wow, actually I'm playing a power 9 in my deck. And obviously it wasn't very good in the past, because the cards, the 3-drops to cast with it were not good. But now you have Fable the Mirror Breaker, you have the initiative cards, you have, 8 casts with Kappa Cannoneer, Thought Monitor, Urza Saga. And just the Magic will keep on printing good cards. And the Enabler, which are Ancient Tomb and Chrome Mox, are just there and waiting.
Yeah, but Crown Mox is like a strong card. Like whenever they play Crown Mox, I'm like, okay, I just need to defend because I'm a hard card advantage, whatever. But whenever I'm playing Legacy, I might not draw, and they go Ancient Tomb in the turn 1. It's like, wow, this game is gonna be rough. And the other way around, like when I'm playing the Ancient Tomb decks and I have like Ancient Tomb on the play, it's like you have so much advantage. I never thought of it as you said as like card advantage, but it's actually true, right? You get 2 mana sources in 1 card. And that's just like completely powerful. I never thought of this, but these decks would never probably just be good without the Tomb, right? Like it's just like a card they need to become this good.
Today I had many games where I went Ancient Tomb, and then I was playing this like 12 free mana. I was playing Petal, Seaman Spirit Guide, and Chrome, so I was getting 3 mana like every time. Yeah. And that was just so nuts. Like, even if the cards, the red initiative cards are not good, the fact that I had 4 more free cards in Seaman Spirit Guide just made so that I was so much more explosive. So if I got the nut, I would go one turn earlier.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you have Force and etc. So at the end of the day, Legacy, it's balanced.
No, but you force the thing, that's the key with Tomb. Like, if you force a spell when they use Mox, it feels like you're ahead in cards or whatever, like at least priority. But when they play Tomb, then land and a creature, and you force a will it, well, next turn they have access to the same mana, so they can just simply play another creature. That's a powerful. Yeah. That's the power of Tomb. Like that's why Seat of Traitors is just fine, and Instant Tomb is like completely super powerful. I think that's a big difference there.
Yeah. So today I posted on a screenshot on Twitter that I went turn 1 Magus of the Moon on the play, Force of Will. Turn 2 Fable, Hydroblast. Turn 3 Adventurer, Force of Will. Turn 4 Blood Moon, Resolves.
Enough.
And I was playing against 4 colors. So
exactly. You can just jam a thread every turn. That's just so powerful. That's something these decks are very good at. Honestly, your breed looks solid. It might be good.
The problem with this deck is that the 2 initiative cards is so bad. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. So overall, this deck is probably not going to be as good. Plus, you don't have answers to Murktide, which is like white has Solid Shid, Touch, and Plow. Red has like Pyroblast, which is not as good.
Okay.
But overall, what I'm trying to say is that, this summer or in the future, they will print, by this summer, the Modern Horizons 3 sets, they will print more 3-drops, and Ancient Tomb will keep on being, one of the best legacy card, and So yeah, it's kind of.
It's part of the format identity, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like Dark Ritual in Pauper.
I think it is. I think it is part of the format identity for real.
Yeah, you just ban the 4 drops and the 5 mana 5/3 that gives you initiative and keep Lotus Petal and Dark Ritual around, and you do the same thing in Legacy probably. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying to ban Ancient Tomb, but it's something that will always happen.
Okay, so let me write down. Mengu wants Ancient Tomb to be banned. Thank you. I never thought of this before. Yeah.
No. I am a huge fan of 8-cast. That is the deck that gives me the most fun, and just right now I'm an Ancient Tomb Challenge type of player.
Okay. All right, let's move into the format of the people, shall we?
Yeah, so
finally Alchemy.
Briefly...
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
briefly, I talked about a little bit of the win percentages of Burn and Affinity that don't really surpass 50%, and this weekend happened the same thing, but there's a deck that is consistently doing so well and actually winning, actually by the same player often, RC Clean 21, winning again with Fogtron.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played Pauper in a while, but I still like this deck whenever I see it. It's just like... This Tron, Fox, whatever. This deck seemed like so well positioned overall. Every time there's like this war of like and removals, like early game removal. This deck just doesn't care.
Yeah, in my local Pauper League, I played the Orders of Ephemerate, which I liked. The one that you see in the top 8 as well with the Pegasus Guardian. I was playing with Core Sky Fisher over Deadly Dispute. The idea came from Batutinha, and I liked it. Core Sky Fisher is a excellent card. I mean, even just bouncing like Dawnbreaker, Cleric, Throbbing Inspector, Spirited Companion was good enough for me.
So one thing that is like very remarkable for me is why 3 expedition maps?
Okay. You mean in Tron?
Yeah.
Tron plays 3 expedition map.
Why?
Well,
why not 4? It's a Tron deck.
I'm gonna guess that you don't mind Troning soon.
I mean, I understand you don't mind Troning soon because, you also don't have like many colorless spells or whatever, but like Troning is still like powerful. I mean, I don't know. That struck to me like this is strange, and I will be surprised if it's actually like correct. And you know what I mean, right? Like,
okay, so
Troning is not great, but also like it's Troning. Like you're gonna just win a game if you have Tron early with a Refractor. The game will be over.
I think the reason might be that in other formats, you expedition map after you Tron, expedition map is still a live draw because you get like Poseiju, Sanctum of Ugin, Eye of Ugin in the past, or Urza Saga. Whereas here, if you already have the Tron lands, expedition map, it's just, not really doing anything because your lands all suck mostly.
That is very true. But I mean, you get another tower. So you get you have a lot of ways to convert extra mana into cards.
But like,
namely like this Compulsive Research Flicker.
But this deck, I played against it, and this deck just draws so much. Like, this deck just floods every game.
Okay.
And I feel like whenever I beat this deck is because I have like a relic and I stop the, or 1 or 2 relic actually, and I stop the Mnemonic Wall, Ephemerate, Ghostly Flicker thing, and they actually just flood and die, basically.
Yeah, I can see
they
that.
They just die with 20 mana in play. This is again, I played against, on Thursday, I played against, with my, played against 3 Tron decks. Funnily enough, they were all different. One was the Golem Foundry version, the one that came in the final. In the final of this challenge, there's 2 Tron decks, but they're different between them. Because one, it's the combo version with Ashnod Altar. It's a 3-card combo. It's Ashnod Altar plus 2, what is the name? 2 Mirror Retriever. You get like an infinite loop.
Yeah.
And then with Golem Foundry or the creature that gains 5 life, Faranga Marauder, you do something with it, basically.
I mean, it's good. I mean, I guess that's why also Tron lands are kind of fine here. Like there's a lot of Tron different decks, and they're never like feeling like too powerful overall. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers lately have definitely made look like Tron is very good, but it's just...
But it's very ignored also. Like,
if
people now start targeting Tron, and then, then the burn numbers will go up, I think it's fine.
For sure. Yeah. Yep. This is why I think Pauper is in a great place, very healthy, because the balance is just... Yeah, if you put too much hate for affinity in your sideboard, you're gonna lose to Tron. If you don't put too much hate for affinity in your sideboard, you're gonna lose to affinity. So it's nice to find that little balance, and I think the game against affinity are fun. Some people might disagree with me, but I find it way more fun to play against affinity than against Bird, for example, or the Prowess Cool Dota version of the deck.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Overall, right now, I like the Hordes of Ephemerate. That is the deck that I am trying to improve a little bit. And that's the deck I'll play moving forward. Definitely a fun deck. Just the classic Pauper experience of just the micro value. Plus, you play this like Goliath Paladin, the 5-mana 3/6, which is so good. Just such a good card. One of the few initiative cards left.
Yeah, they're gonna end ban everything, all the initiative with enough time.
Yeah, wait, totally. Like, although in this deck, this card is played in a fair way, as in you tap 5 lands and you cast it. So I don't think.
All right.
I don't think it's just as good as the 4 drops that they had to ban because it was played in a turbo version.
I think we went through all the formats. Let's just maybe talk about what's gonna happen next week, because next week we will have probably not podcast, I assume, right?
So you will be away.
I will be away with Anthony, so we'll leave you alone. If we might go protest about limited to WotC offices, but if we don't, we'll just be testing. Certainly looking forward for PT Philly, but that means we will not be able to make that content. We'll be just testing, but we'll surely talk about all we do afterwards, though.
Yeah, so you will return the week after?
Yeah, after the tournament I will be back, so we'll be here talking about all the experiences in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
About all what happened. Yeah. I think Anthony will still be protesting, though. But
yeah, he's returning. The return from Philly to Perth is what, 4 days?
Yeah,
3 days?
I know. Yeah, apparently going to Australia is just takes multiple days every time. So that's how it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll be back then with a lot of new content, and we will have a lot of. I'm sure we have a few things to tell about the whole drafting and Pioneer experience. As always, if there's something you guys want to hear about for the next programs, you can always Twitter us or just tell us in the Discord or the Patreon or whatever. I mean, Discord's a good place to do so, but also like Twitter, Mengu's Twitter, preferably.
Yeah, I'm always ready for...
me too, though. I am also ready to
some interaction. If you ever want to ask me something, my stream, I have a lot of people that come on my stream and ask about, something going on in the podcast. On the YouTube channel where I upload this video, people always be like, oh, why don't you guys show the face? Because, I don't know, it's a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast. It's not a face podcast. I guess.
Exactly.
Some people do podcasts with faces. Maybe one day we can do it so people can see our pajamas. Because I do record in pajamas every time.
I am in streaming sweatpants.
Streaming pants. Okay, I mean, they're often similar to pajamas, aren't they? Like
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I will also stream with these clothes if I did stream right now. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Shall we?
We can wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you want to support us directly, there is the Patreon at patreon.com/carnies. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good week.
Thank you.